Let's have a look at some answers to these questions. So, question 1, the activity of a radioactive sample is 768 counts per minute. Find its activity after these numbers of half-lives. Okay, well, finding them in a weird order is not particularly sensible. So what we're going to do is we're going to find them in just numerical order, and then we'll put them in the right order, or the order of the questions once we've done that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with 768 counts per minute, and we are going to have our first half-life. We're going to divide that by 2, and I'm going to put 768 into my calculator, divide it by 2, that gives me 384. So after one half-life, we've got 384, and we need units because we always need units. So 384 counts per minute. After 2 half-lives, we're going to divide that number by 2. So 384 divided by 2 gives us 192. So that's 192 counts per minute. After 3 is 96. 4 is 48. 5 is 24. And all I'm doing here is dividing the last number by 2 each time. 6, 7 is going to be 6, 8 is going to be 3, and 9, which is the last one, is going to be half of 3. So we need to decide, can we have half a count per minute? So can we have an answer of 1.5 counts per minute? And the answer is yes, we can. If we've got 3 counts in 2 minutes, that's 1.5 every minute. So now what we've got to do is put these in the right order. So 3 is 96 counts per minute, 5 is 24 counts per minute, 6 is 12 counts per minute, 9 is 1.5 counts per minute, 4 would be 48 counts per minute, 8 is 3 counts per minute, and 7 is 6 counts per minute. There we go. All those answers in the correct order. Next, a little bit harder. The activity of this radioactive sample is 560 counts per minute, and 2 hours later it's fallen to 35 counts per minute. Work out how many half-lives have passed. Okay, we've got a hint here of keep halving the initial activity until you reach the final activity, and count how many times you need to halve the initial activity. Okay, so 560, we're going to divide that by 2. So 560 in the calculator, divided by 2 gives us 280. Second half-life, we're going to divide by 2 again, and that gives us 140. Third half-life, we divide by 2 again, and that's going to give us 70. And the fourth half-life, we're going to divide by 2, and that's going to give us our target of 35. Okay, so we've divided by 2 4 times. That means there are 4 half-lives. Ace. Right. So B, calculate the half-life of the sample. This is easier than it looks. You need to divide the time taken by the number of half-lives. Okay, so we've already worked out that there's 4 half-lives, and we're told that there's 2 hours have passed. So what we need to do is we've got 2 hours equals 4 half-lives. So I'm writing half-lives as shorthand there. So if 4 half-lives is 2 hours, then 1 half-life must equal 2 divided by 4. And if we simplify 2 over 4 as a fraction, that gives us a half. So half hour or 30 minutes is our answer for half-life. Okay. Next question is very similar. This time it's just a little bit harder, and we're not given the hints. So the activity of this radioisotope is 7,680 counts per minute, and after 6 hours it's fallen to 30 counts per minute. Okay, so we type in 7,680 into our calculator, divide by 2, that gives us 3,840. So 3. And then we divide that by 2 again, 1,920, and again 960, and again 480, and then again 240, and then again 120, and then again is going to be 60, and then again is going to be 30. So we've reached our 30 counts per minute, and we've divided it a number of times. To find out how many half-lives were taken in 6 hours, we need to work out how many times we've divided it by 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 8 half-lives have passed because we've had to divide the original number by 2 8 times. Okay, calculate the half-life of the radioisotope. Well, if it's taken 6 hours, okay, and we've got 8 half-lives, so one half-life is going to be 6 divided by 8. Now, we tend not to deal in eighths of an hour. It's a bit of an unusual unit of time. But let's see if we can simplify this fraction, see if we can actually make more sense. So 6 and 8 both have 2 as a factor. So if we divide both by 2, 6/8 becomes 3/4. Now, we deal with 3/4 and deal with quarters of an hour much more than we do with eighths of an hour. And we know that 3/4 of an hour is 45 minutes. So there's our answer. A half-life is 3/4 of an hour or 45 minutes. Question 4, we've got 6 of the same questions or the same style of question, and we want to work out what the half-life is. So for each of these, we need to find out how many half-lives are passed and then what the half-life is. Okay, so start with A, so 328, put that in my calculator, and I'm going to divide that by 2 until I get to 41. So 164, 82, 41. So that's 1, 2, 3. So 3 half-lives have passed, and this is in 3 hours. Well, that means that for this first one, the answer is going to be 1 hour. You could put 60 minutes, either's fine. 1 hour, 60 minutes, whatever you feel. Part B, let's start with 940, put that in my calculator, 40, divide that by 2, that gives us 470, then 235. Crikey, we've already reached our target. So that only took 2 half-lives. So 2 half-lives in 36 minutes. Well, if 2 half-lives is 36 minutes, then 1 half-life must be half of that. So if we divide 36 by 2, we get 18 minutes. Okay. Part C, we've got 600. We're going to divide that by 2. Well, I can do that without a calculator. That's 300. Then I'm going to divide that by 2, 150. And divide that by 2 is 75. And divide that by 2 is 37.5. So then we're at our target of 37.5. 1, 2, 3, 4 half-lives. So 4 half-lives. Maths is getting a little bit tricky now. So 4 half-lives in 25 hours. Is 25 divisible by 4? It isn't. Not directly anyway. If we do 25 divided by 4, we get 6.25. Okay, so it's 6 hours and then 1/4 of an hour. So that's 6 1/4 hours. So I can write that in there, 6 1/4 hours, or 6.25 hours, or 6 hours and 15 minutes. However you want to display that is fine. I've not stipulated what units you put this in, so you can have any of those. Okay, so let's just rub out our working out, give us a bit more space for the last 2. And we will have the last 3. So part D, 1088, falling to 17. This might take a while. So instead of writing all the answers out this time, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to count how many times I divided by 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've divided by 2 6 times, and we get 17. So 6 half-lives have passed. So 6 half-lives in 1 hour. So 6 half-lives in an hour sounds a lot like the answer is going to be 10 minutes. So each half-life is 10 minutes. Part E, we're going to have 128, and that's going to fall to 8. Now 128, I happen to know, is a factor of 2. So this is quite an easy one if you're happy with factors of 2. 128 half, that's 64, 32, 16. What are we going down to? 8. Okay, so that's 8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So if 4 half-lives in 2 hours each one's going to be 30 minutes. And the last one, 512, and again, this is a factor of 2, so this should be relatively straightforward. 512, 256, 128, and then 64. So 1, 2, 3 half-lives this time. So 3 half-lives in a day. So that's 24 hours. And 3 8s are 24. So each of these half-lives is going to be 8 hours long.